What I'm going to be doing today is putting a lift pump on my old Dodge here. This is a 1999 Dodge Ram 2500 Cummins quad cab, 8-foot bed, 2-wheel drive. Wish it was 4-wheel drive, but I've got issues with my lift pump. As I was traveling down the road, I had noticed the last few trips out is that every once in a while it would be like starving for fuel. And I knew the lift pump was going out. It was just a matter of time. And what has happened here lately, not lately, it's been a few months, is the lift pump totally went out and got to the point where, you know, I was making sure it was going to be the lift pump before I actually did any additional work. I checked to make sure that it wasn't pumping fuel, pulled the fuel line off the back of the pressure pump, and I blew into the line, and I was able to clear the line out to the fuel tank. And so I determined that I didn't have a blockage, and being as how I didn't have fuel going to the fuel filter and the tank wasn't blocked, I made an assumption that I got to get a lift pump put on it. It's not difficult to do. It's probably going to, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take. I mean, I've done it before. Might take me like a half hour, 45 minutes, but it could take an hour, hour and a half. I don't know. Okay, well, what we got is we have this. This is the lift pump, okay? And what I got to do is I got to be able to get to the top of the lift pump, and I got to get up from underneath. I'm just going to kind of show you what I need to do. Is right here behind the manifold breather tube is the fuel pump mounted to the side of the head. It's got two 10mm bolts holding it on, and then I've got to take these two lines off here. If I'm not mistaken, they're somewhere close to 5/8 or so. I'll figure that out when I get there. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and I got to disassemble this, get these two lines. There's an electrical plug down below, and really what I want to do is I just want to get this out of the way so that I can see what's going on down below. I'll try not to get in the way. And these bolts have always been real easy to take off. There's one. Don't have it out. I just got it ready to pull up. Break it loose and get it with my finger. Okay, got those. Let's get those other lines off. Okay. Works out that that is a 17mm. Actually, it looks like it should be a 16.5, but I didn't have, yeah, I put the 11/16, 5/8 up there and it didn't work. But that's easy enough to bust loose with the 17mm, so I'm going to go ahead and stick with that. Okay. You know, one of the, you know, nobody wants to have to work on or fix their vehicle. Yeah, especially a truck. I hate when this truck breaks down. I can't really stand it. It drives me nuts, you know, because I mean, I don't use it a lot. Like I said, this truck's been sitting here for months. And there was a time where I didn't even need it, and it sat for like 7 years. My son was driving it, and it needed a lift pump back then. But what I'm going to do here now is I got this other bolt. Those two fuel lines, the forward and the back line, are loose. Okay, I moved the fuel drain line, opened it up, drained the filter. I need to reach down here and disconnect the electrical. Actually, maybe I don't. I'm gonna go ahead and take these two bolts off on the top and see if I can just swing that out of the way. It's been about 3 years or 4 years maybe since I've put, oh, it just kind of like fell down out of the way. Exactly what I needed it to do without disconnecting anything else. How about that? Okay. I see the fuel pump, the lift pump, and what I got to do is I don't know yet. Let's take a quick break. Okay, let's get back on this. What I got to do right now, I got a better angle on the camera, is I got to get these nuts off of the mounting bracket on the side of the motor. Before I do that though, I got to loosen the fuel line that's coming back from the gas tank, which screws onto the back of the lift pump itself. So once I get this, I can go ahead and get up on those nuts. And really, I mean, it's gonna be pretty simple. Now, once I break them loose, I mean, they're easy enough that you could get your fingers and take the nuts off. So I got 3 of them. So there's 1, 2. See, just get it broke loose and you can reach down in there. I can't see. I know you probably can't see either. But just know that when you reach down there and take it off and the nut comes off the bolt, you're good to go. Alright, now I'm using this screwdriver to get down in here. There's an electrical plug on the pump and there's a tab. So I'm just using a screwdriver to push that tab, and then I'm going to yank and get the electrical disconnected. Yeehaw! Alright, now the pump itself is off. The only thing I've got to do, and I'll do that in just a second, is take the fuel supply line off of the other pump and then put it on this one. Now this is the fitting for the fuel line that comes from the fuel tank. And I was taking this one off because I thought about using the old one that was down there. And what I found after I go down here and get it plugged in and work in the blind again, what I ended up doing is I ended up getting me a couple of cinder blocks, and I was actually able to stand on the cinder blocks, you know, to get down in there and work and reach without having to actually get under the truck. So I got that plugged in. And now I just got to get these nuts here off. And they're on there finger tight. So I just get them loose. Come on. There's 2. Oh, that one's a little too tight. I'll just break it loose real quick. It should come right up, I'm hoping. Yep, good to go. Alright, now I'm going to get this fuel line here off, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to the new pump. And I got the bright idea to put this line on the other pump, and then I'll be able to lower the pump down and use it as a handle to get those 3 bolts up through that plate on the bottom. So anyway, that ain't no good anymore. We're just gonna chunk it and we're just gonna be done with it and throw it in the garbage. Alright, now this nipple right here comes off. That's you know, where the fuel goes into the actual lift pump. Alright, and I got a couple of washers, copper, you know, with rubber inserts on them, and I'm just going to put one on the inside, and it'll just go right over the top of that, and you can just push it. I mean, it's going to be a snug fit, but just go ahead and take it and push it on and pull it just like that. Now I got the other one. They had metal inserts in them. I don't know what they was good for, other than just keeping the O-ring, you know, from like shriveling up or whatever, but it just held it in place. I put this fuel supply line on it, and then I'll get this other rubber washer with the rubber. I gotta flip that metal piece out of there. Yeah, as I push, it just come out, so I guess it was meant to do that. And once I get that set in there, I just get the new cap that came in with the pump, you know, it's all nice and clean. I'll screw that on there, and I'm just going to get it snug. I'm not going to tighten it up right now because I want to get it lowered in there, and I still need to be able to maneuver the pump itself. Alright, so just get down, get those 3 bolts. You can see the plate and you can see the holes. Well, maybe you can. I can't hardly either. But I'm going to get those 3 bolts lined up with the 3 holes on the mounting bracket on the side of the engine. And now I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm going to wedge them by using that handle. There we go. Alright, we're up through the holes, and I'm just kind of like putting a bind on it so that the threads catch and hold itself on the brackets. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the 3 nuts on. They're 10 millimeter, so just get all 3 started and then run them down as far as you can. And there's one. And then there's 2. Nice clean threads. Run them all the way down. And here is the 3rd one. And I'll get it started. And then all I got to really do is get down in there with a ratchet, 10 millimeter socket, and then get them tightened up. Now this whole process of getting these nuts on there, getting the pump up, and getting the nuts on, and then getting them tightened up, probably about, I'd say 3 minutes, about 3-4 minutes or so. Not very difficult at all. So anyway, I got that run down. It shouldn't take but a couple turns to get it tightened up. Come on now. Alright, there we go. Yep, nice and snug. Alright, so the pump's situated and pumped or tightened all the way up to the mounting bracket. I'll go ahead and get these other 2, and then once we get those all nice and snug, we're just about on our way. There's number 2. And now we're going to get number 3. We're going to make sure, since the pump got snugged up, that I run that thread down as far as I can. Come on, get up underneath it there. Not a whole lot of room. Probably should have used a 3/8 ratchet. It would have been a little bit smaller, but I got it. So I didn't worry about it. Just get that snugged up. And then the pump is mounted. There we go. Alright, now what I've got to do is I got to get the fuel filter rod pointing in the right direction. You see it's pointed out. I had it pointed in before. I had to take it off and turn it around, but you just want to make sure that it's facing to the front and not the rear. And I went ahead and snugged up the line. Now what I got to do is get the fuel filter in the back of the pump hooked up. Okay, so I just used an adjustable wrench, screwed the fuel line back onto the pump. I've got these 2 bolts. I'm going to go ahead and just get these in here, and I'm not going to tighten them up just yet. I'm going to make sure everything's in place and ready to go. But we're just going to get these bolts in here and get them finger tight. And then we're going to make sure that the fuel lines are all lined up and get those snug. And then we'll get the mounting bracket tightened up. All right. Okay. That's the fuel supply line going actually to the fuel injector pump. And that's got a copper washer on that bolt. Of course, it's got a hole through it to allow for fuel flow. I'm just going to get that started. I'm going to run it down as far as I can. Make sure I got good thread contact. Not bound up. Don't want to get anything cross-threaded. Now this one here, I got to make sure I get the fuel supply line lined up, and I get that bolt down in there and get it started. I mean, it's a little off center because I had it actually off of the fuel pump, but I'm just going to make sure that I got everything squared away, get it started a few threads, and then you know, I'll come in with the ratchet and get it tightened up. Now I've used a 17mm to get those tightened up. So let's just get them threads on there. Come on. All right, there we go. All right, get them tightened up with a ratchet, 17mm. Nice and snug. Now don't crank on those things. You know, it is copper and you don't want to strip the threads on there. Last thing you want to do is strip the threads on there and have to buy a new fuel filter bracket. And now I'm going to go with a 10mm, and I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the bolts on the actual main bracket for the fuel filter canister to the engine block. Get that nice and snug. Don't crank on them. Ain't no need to. Yeah, Tammy doing a good job holding that camera, isn't she? Okay, those are snug. And since I left the key on while the truck was sitting here all those months, my battery's dead. So I'm going to get those charged up and then come back in the next day. It's going to take a while. I'm going to leave it set overnight. Alright, now what we're going to do is I have to loop, you know, the fuel system was exposed, right? So you're going to have air in the system. And what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to loosen this fuel injector. And as I loosen that, now watch this. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to crank on the truck, and then while I crank on the truck, it's going to be the fuel pump should be forcing fuel through the fuel filter into the injector pump, and with no blockage and airflow, it should be able to push the diesel fuel through the injector. All right, gave it just a few cranks and it was ready to go. So now I need to just go ahead and get the fuel injector tightened up. The system is bled. Engine is running. Oh boy, what an exciting day. Yep, get it all snugged up, stop that fuel flow, and you're good to go. Well, there you have it. One duly installed lift pump. 1999 Dodge 2500. Had this truck over 22 years. Listen to it. Doesn't it sound great? You got that right. Y'all have at it.